It is 5:30 and welcome to everyone that's here tonight. I'm going to call us to order as a community development agency before we meet as a council. The Opens Meeting Act is posted on the east wall of the council chambers, and notice of this meeting was published in the New York News Times on March 13, 2025. If you would, please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And then we'll call.
Norris.
Here.
Shepherd. Here. Ostier.
Here.
Wilkinson.
Here.
Van Esch. Piper.
Here.
McGregor.
Here.
Northrup. Here.
We're meeting as a community development agency to review the discussion of the City of York Redevelopment Plan Amendment for CDA Area 10, the Hyatt Studios redevelopment project related to the cost-benefit analysis. We'll start with that. I don't know who would like. We have our TIF attorney. Hello. How are you? Mike Bacon is with us, and so we'll get some volume for him, and he can take us through what's going on here.
I think you're muted.
You're muted, Mike. Now he's frozen. His lips are moving.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Sorry, I was on mute. I'm seldom quiet. So this is another progressive step for the community of York. You have a proposal to build a minimum of 109 rooms adjacent to the convention center. Hyatt flag, as I recall. This is a request for tax increment financing, and the reason for the request is they cannot currently achieve their necessary rate of return to attract investors in the facility without assistance from tax increment financing. The funds will be used primarily for three things: site acquisition, site development, including getting the necessary utilities there, and finally, they will share their public parking with the convention center for a period equivalent to the tax increment financing that service for 15 years that pays off earlier. So those are all eligible TIF costs. So that's the general plan. The cost benefit analysis is rather striking. If you take a look at that, they're going to have a total investment in the $18 million range, most likely an assessment in the 8.6-ish range initially. Over time in your community, those valuations have historically gone up. The total amount of transfer of tax dollars that are divided for the $1.35 million TIF note, plus the interest over that period of time would be about $2.4 million. $800 in estimated annual payroll, 22 employees are a plan. With that level of employees, not likely to be a major push or challenge to the current school system. Lodging tax and sales tax collections for the city are in excess of $75,000 for sales tax and $150,000 for the lodging tax. So net positive, substantial net positive generation for the community. They want to begin in the spring and want to be open as soon as they can after the first of next year. So I'll be glad to answer any questions. The redevelopment plan is in appropriate form, and the cost benefit analysis is positive. be a good addition to your community. Questions?
Maybe we should mention that the finance team, committee, and the planning commission reviewed it as well. For
Yes.
forecast and stuff.
So we did have the TIF advisory board did meet and look at the financial numbers and recommended approval, and also the planning commission met and looked at this. So great project, and it's one we've been trying to, I think, get since the convention center was ever built, was to have a hotel next to it. So this is terrific, and I think Mike's done a good job of taking us through and representing us with them to make sure that all these were legitimate uses of the money and that this was a win-win. And so I think it's a win-win, don't you, Mike?
Yeah, if you don't want it, we can take it to some other towns that would love it.
Yeah, I think we like it. So any other questions, council?
Jonathan is on.
Yes.
Go ahead, Jonathan.
Oh, hi. Well, my name is Jonathan Kester with Collaboration Real Estate. We are the developers proposing the Hyatt Studios in Newark. And one, I can just, I can attest and just say as a developer that this community has been incredible to work with. Everyone at all levels has been very supportive and helpful. Mike Bacon has done an incredible job. And I truly believe it's because there's an opportunity here and the community sees it. And for us, we in particular can say that if there's a convention center and there's no hotel, we see opportunity. And we were just ecstatic and outstanding at the same time to see a site that was opportunistic. We ran some numbers, we came back. The area has a lot of opportunity for growth. But one thing, unfortunately, for us is construction costs have continued to rise, and the ability to get these projects across the board have really taken on a new level. And as we see new tariffs being introduced daily, maybe hourly, I don't know. I'm trying not to track all of them because it's going to give me heartburn. But I will say that communities like York that realize this, understand this, and have been supportive of utilizing the tools that they have to help developers push this across the finish line and get projects going are the ones that I see that are moving the needle and making things happen. So one, I can just say thank you for the opportunity. We're excited. We want to continue our growth and development within the community. We've had a very great experience. And with that, I'll leave it open to any questions if you have any, and I'd be happy to provide answers if I have them.
Thank you, Jonathan. Any questions of Jonathan? Lisa, do you have anything you want to add?
I guess I'll just add, this development team, Jonathan and all of his partners have been fabulous to work with, and I believe they'll be a great developer to have here in town. And I want to thank you guys for consideration of the project. Like Barry said, I've been trying to get a hotel since I started, because that's about 2 weeks after I started was when we broke ground on the convention center. So we finally have it. So thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you, Lisa. Any further questions? Jonathan, thanks for joining us. Thanks for your investment in York, and tell your partners that we're really excited to see what you're going to do.
Thank you.
Mike, anything else to add?
This is before you to make a recommendation to yourselves as a city council. Yeah, I know. It sounds a little bizarre, but that's what the statutes read. So the way to make a recommendation to the city council is a motion to pass the resolution that is in front of you as the Community Development Agency. If you do that, then you make a recommendation, and as the city council, you'll have a hearing on this plan later, and if that passes, then you come back as the Community Development Agency and pass, I call it a bond resolution, which authorizes the signature of the redevelopment contract and the issuance of the TIF note.
Thank you very much. So, well, that leaves us with item 7, which is consider approval of resolution 2025-7.
Motion to approve resolution 2025-7.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further comments? Hearing none. Amanda?
Norm.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Ostier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Northrup.
Very good. You can do it.
Yes.
Yes. There you go. So, fantastic. Really, this is a great project, and really excited to see this happen. So, now we need a motion to recess and to convene as a city council.
That's a move. Second.
Motion is second. Amanda?
Norm.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Ostier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Northrup. Yes.
And I will call us to order as the city council. And again, the Open Meeting Act is posted on the east wall of the council chambers, and we will have another roll call.
Norm.
Here.
Shepherd. Here. Ostier.
Here.
Wilkinson.
Here.
Van Esch. Piper.
Still here.
McGregor. Northrup.
To make sure no one snuck out between us. Next, you will all set the minutes of the March 6, 2025 meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Amanda?
Norm.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Ostier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Northrup. Yes.
Next are claims of elected officials.
We do have 4 claims of elected officials. First is Tony North of North Printing and Office Supply in the amount of $2,450.46. I move for approval.
Second.
Amanda?
Norm.
Abstain.
Shepherd. Yes. Ostier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Northrup. Yes.
Second, we have a claim from Jeff Piper of Piper Inc. in the amount of $226.84. So I move for approval.
Second.
Amanda?
Norm.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Ostier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Abstain.
McGregor.
Yes.
Northrup. Yes.
Third is Stephen Posterior of York County Development Corporation as a business affiliation in the amount of $30. I move for approval.
Second.
Norm.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Ostier.
Abstain.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Northrup. Yes.
Fourth is Jennifer Shepard for a Creative District supply reimbursement in the amount of $349. I move for approval.
Second.
Norm.
Yes.
Shepherd. Abstain. Ostier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Northrup. Yes.
And now the claims for the period of March 7th through March 20th, 2025.
Well, the Finance Committee just met to review those claims, barring a little disturbance in the weather. And I would move for approval for the claims of the period March 7th through March 20th, 2025.
Second.
Motion is second. And the claims are very fresh in their mind. If anyone has any questions on anything? Hearing none. Amanda?
Norm.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Ostier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Northrup. Yes.
Our next agenda item is we have the department activity reports for the month of February 2025. Any questions on those?
Move for approval.
Motion
Second.
and second. Amanda?
Norm.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Ostier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Northrup. Yes.
And we have to approve cash balances for the month of February 2025.
I move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Any other questions or comments? Amanda?
Norm.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Ostier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Northrup. Yes.
Our next agenda item is city administrator report. Dr. Crawford.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. I was going to turn my entire report over to the library, but given the blizzard, just a few announcements first. So we did, as a city, declare a blizzard emergency, and so we've turned that paperwork in for that. Just want to thank all of our departments who have worked together so well to keep people safe through the streets. It's a huge, wet, heavy snow, so that causes a lot of complications in terms of getting the streets cleared. And plus they were working and there was no place that was open to eat because there was no power, so they were really going above and beyond, and so I appreciate their work to make that happen. We still have some people who are without power. That is NPPD, not the city, but we still have, just as an update, the city still has its emergency shelter open, and our emergency shelter is in the city auditorium, right across from the library on Nebraska. So if you do not have power and you need a place to warm up, charge your phone, or sleep, that is open. You go through the north door. We will have staff there for recreation purposes in the rest of the building from 5 to 8 tonight. And so if you need accessibility assistance, it would be best if you got there in that window. If you need accessibility assistance and you can't get there in that window, then call the non-emergency dispatch number and someone will come and help you use the freight elevator to get where you need to get. So that's the emergency shelter. We just practiced this emergency 2 years ago. So this was, we practiced the blizzard, and one of the things we did was figure out how to set that building up as an emergency shelter. And so that will be open until we get the word from NPPD that everybody's back online with power. So also there are many limbs down. When the weather permits, we will announce a place where people can come and drop their limbs. So please be patient with that, and we will get that taken care of as soon as we can. So with that,
I'm going to make one comment, as we did have correspondence with NPD not long ago. They didn't want to specifically say a time, but they felt very confident that they would have everybody online, or most everybody, within the next couple of hours. So that'll be good, and then they'll have all the circuits back up, and then they'll have transformers and wires are across, but once all the circuits are up, they'll be able to identify those better and be able to take those isolated maybe areas that are treated, that are taking care of 1 or 2 houses and get those fixed as quick as they can. So it's good we'll have the shelter open tonight, but hopefully there's power coming back too. And want to thank them. I know this hasn't been very good working conditions for all of these people for 24 hours, so thank them all.
so if you don't have power, a fun place to stay until 7 p.m. tonight is the library. So that's a segue to hear a little more, some updates from the library.
Yes, it was good to see them here announcing she sent out earlier today that it's probably the most fun place to be in this
Yes.
situation, this library. So come on up quick. I'm Deb Roberts, I'm the library director at 520 North Nebraska Avenue, and this is, and then I am Whitney Corman, 827 East 7th Street, and I am the new market space coordinator. Yes. So we're just here to let you all know that next week we'll be very busy at the library. On Tuesday, I have Nicole Senchuk from NPPD coming down to run 3 different sessions on trying to gather feedback from everyone that has time and willing to come to the library and share how they see York growing in the next decade or 2, so that the library can look at this list of things that citizens want or need in the future, and we can decide how the library should grow to help meet those needs as much as we can. So it's a way to focus on the community rather than the library, but let the library do what it can to help the community. And then Quentin has his story.
So another thing that will be busy at the library next week is that we are announcing that we are going to be having an open house for our new market, for our new makerspace at the library. And we are going to celebrate by one of our open house events, which is on Monday, March 24th from 2:30 to 4, Wednesday, March 26th from 5 to 7, and then Thursday, March 27th, 11:30 to 1. And we will be inviting our partner agencies with Pays and Ben to provide services, and the other one was, And then if you'd like to attend, please email create@cityofyork.ne.gov or call 402-363-2626 if you'd like to attend one of these sessions, and we hope to see you all there.
This is a very soft opening of the makerspace. We are just to the point where we have some of the equipment ready to run, but it's exciting. And everyone I've talked to can't wait to get their hands on it, so I'm looking forward to the excitement. That's all we have. Do you have any questions for us?
I can't wait to see it.
I know, me.
You're welcome, Quentin.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
That's great, thank you.
Thank
Glenn.
you.
Deb, on the 25th, how long are the sessions? Do you think?
Well, we've scheduled 90 minutes, but if a small group, 2 or 3 show up, it'll probably be an hour. It just depends on the conversation that happens, but that's what we have.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next agenda item is the annual report from the police department. Chief, welcome to the microphone.
This is something that I've kind of been remiss, I haven't been addressing the council about our annual report. Maybe I've done it one other time in the 7 years I've been here now, and I just wanted to come in and just point to a few things that we've been working on. We've kind of taken the report and changed the format over the last couple of years and kind of simplified it. We used to just throw all the numbers at everybody, so if you want more specific numbers or have questions or anything, let me know. We can certainly provide whatever you guys want to know. We try to kind of basic it up a little bit and hit the key points. And we also like to talk a little bit more now about the things we're doing in the community that might not typically show up in a statistical report, like the number of hours of training we do. You know, we did almost 2,700 hours of training last year. If you think about a staff of 21 people, that's quite a lot of training that we did. We branch out with our training and we try to take a lot of pride in that, so we're sending our officers to national level accredited trainings and things like that. We do in-house training to save money on some topics, and then some things, leadership supervision, we try to reach a little bit higher and go for some of that more elite, nationally recognized training and bring that into our community. You know, we're pretty steady with a lot of the numbers that we have. One of the things that we saw was earlier in the year, we kind of saw a little bit of an increase in motor vehicle accidents around the community, so we challenged our officers and sergeants to get out there, be a little more proactive with traffic enforcement, so that we can get out there and you know, that's how you educate. You know, it's not about just going out and dropping tickets on people. We know about enforcement action that doesn't always work, but making those contacts does work. What we know about our small communities is that typically we don't have, with 8,000 residents in the city of York, you know, we don't have 4,000 residents that drive, that make questionable driving decisions, you know, 1 or 2 or 3 times a year. What we have is, the more consistent problem we have is we'll have 100 residents that make consistently poor choices. So we want to do what we can to get out and have contact with those folks and re-educate them and remind them about what's important and how we can do better. So that's one of the things that we did this year. Also, you know, overall, what I want to come talk about is what we see every year is just a general steady increase in the overall number of calls that we handle. So when we talk about calls for service, they're on page 4 at the top. You know, the totals there in 2022 we had 8,330, and now in 2024 up to over 9,600. Calls for service, what we try to do is make that an overall number. That encompasses everything that we do. Okay, so that's not just people calling for help, that's also our proactive stuff. So if an officer goes out and makes a traffic stop, a call for service is generated for every single stop, everything that we do. So that way we can just kind of have an overall feel for how many that we're handling. But if you look at that number and break that down, and we're consistently running more than 800 calls for service a month. And again, so think, just run that through in your mind. 800 calls for service per month with, you know, 21 employees, 18 of whom are steadily on the road, 4 at a time. That's, your police department's working really hard for this community. They really are. They're really out there. I'm really proud of them. They do a lot of stuff. And a lot of the increases that we see are also, you know, we push hard for proactive activity. That's why when we see an increase, we like to see a general increase in the number of traffic stops, not just in response to accidents. Like earlier this year, we saw that trending up, so we decided to go ahead and try to get ahead of that and try to get out there and do that enforcement for that reason. But traffic stops is also an important number in small communities because that is a general indication of proactive activity. So when officers they're not doing follow-up, and they're not doing their assigned calls and assigned duties, they have time to go out and be proactive and do the things that and patrol the way that they want to and go to those areas where we direct them to and that kind of stuff, and they're reacting to those projects. That's just a general indication. While they're out there doing that active patrol, that's also when they're running that proactive traffic time. So it's a good thing that we see the number of stops going up. It's not necessarily a negative indicator for our community. It's a positive indicator that our police officers are dedicated and they're out there pushing all the time to be proactive and not just, you know, so much of policing by its very nature is reactive, and that's one of the big frustrations with the field in general, and we want to be proactive and preventative, so that's how we do that. You know, we do a lot of positive stuff in the community, but we've been really reaching out. The school resource officer program, you know, we're coming up to the end of the school year on that. That has been a phenomenal success. We have had zero issues, no communication barriers at all. We hit the ground running and worked through all that stuff. Really, Riley Friesen really did a great job for us and really hit the ground running with the schools on that. So that's been very positive. And we have really been pushing very hard with just positive community contacts. You know, we feel the support of this community every day. We really do. And, you know, we feel like we need to earn it. And the officers really push hard for that. So they're out there doing, you know, presentations at schools and things like that. And it makes me really proud when I think about, like 2 years ago or 3 years ago now, we had a couple of daycares in town that called us and said, hey, we'd like some safety presentations around Halloween about stranger danger, trick-or-treating, and that kind of stuff. And that has just taken on a life of its own, to where I have to have Sergeant Rodenberg come in, and he moves his shift around, and he's like the coordinating person for that. And we have 3 or 4 people that help him. He can't even keep up with it anymore. We have contact with between 2,000 and 3,000 kids in this community in the month of October. And that's like 3 cops doing that. I mean, it's really amazing. And they did that on their own. All I did was forward some emails, you know. So it's really, these folks are really working hard for you, and I just want to go up and advocate for them and remind everybody that they're really working hard, and to kind of point out that, you know, as we go through, we all want the community to be successful. We understand that this is, you know, a community that's successful means a successful department for us, and all the budgetary concerns and things that come with that. We're all very aware of that. But I just like to also remind the council whenever I can that, you know, as we talk about expansion with hotels and new amenities and things, that is really great, and we understand how valuable that is. But it also brings more activity for us, you know, for those of us that are out protecting and servicing those amenities. So you know, don't forget about us. Those numbers are keeping up for a reason. So,
See, with the accidents you're seeing, is there a certain area in town or a couple areas that are like pinch points, or is it just kind of a general accident?
So York is typical for the smaller communities that I've worked in, and what we see is we typically we'll have some typical areas where there is some challenges. You know, we have one way, so that brings us a certain flavor downtown, and then uncontrolled intersections. And in a community like ours, uncontrolled intersections is 80% of our arterials and our residentials. So with a jurisdiction that is a total of 6 square miles, really it's pretty widespread. But what we have done is in the last year, this council was gracious enough to approve us to go get some of those traffic counting devices, and we've had those signs out there, and we can just put those out, and it reminds everybody. But we can also put them out there and put them out there dark, and they're still collecting data, so it's not scaring everybody, but we're still collecting that information. You know, it's got reliable radar in it, so what we can do with that, and yes, it does have a camera in it. So what it will do is if we have somebody that comes by one of those, we can go knock on the door and say hi. What we won't do is do an official citation or enforcement based solely off a camera. I'm just not comfortable with that, and there's a certain level of articulation you need to do on the technology side that we haven't done with these to get that done. But it does have a radar and a camera in it, so what we can do is go knock on the door and say, hi, this is a picture of you and your license plate, and here's the speed. Let's have a chat about that. And that's, in our community, that it really does work pretty well. So we've got those out there. We're trying to really narrow that down more, moving those around the community. This first year, we've been using them pretty consistently. And what we find is, I expected pushback, to be perfectly frank, and that is not what we've had. Everybody wants it in their community. When can I have it on my street? Everybody wants it. So that's a great challenge to have. You know, it's better than why is it here? Why are you taking my picture? We haven't faced any of that. It's been really hot. It's been really good, really good. Everybody wants it in their community. I like that. That's another way that the community supports us, because they trust us and they know that we're not out there just dropping paper on everybody for fun. That's just not what we're about here. This is a community effort, and like I said, we work hard every day to earn it, and I think we feel that every day. So
I did hear lots of positive comments about where did those come from? How long have you had them? Have they been hiding? You know, all that kind of stuff when they first were on Delaware.
Yeah, on that note, wouldn't that be something that would help out at the school areas that they're complaining about me having so much?
that's a lot of the areas where we've been putting them, and we can collect data from that way. And also, when we purchased those, James and I got together beforehand. So when he has some devices that he can put out at the track, we make sure that we bought from the same company. So that data is all funneled into the same place, and he can access it and I can access his. So that, for instance, if we go out on Delaware or one of those trouble spots and put those signs up, and there's traffic counts and things, James or his people are working on a project, or Dan needs something for a project he's working on, they can log right in and see the data. So that continually logs everywhere we put all those devices. So it's worked out really well that all that data is available to us, so.
Well, I should say that make a lot of sense, making decisions of how we need to, having that data to make the decision.
Data certainly helps us with
To
that.
add in the future, you know.
But we'll also, James and I talked extensively about that too, and those decisions are really hard too, as far as, you don't just go out and put up a sign, you really need a traffic engineer that can come in and tell you, when you put this sign up here, 2 miles away, the butterfly effect's gonna hit you over here, so, you really wanna make sure that you consider all those things. But yeah, it certainly does help with that, and it's something we can go put up, they're temporary, we just go put them up on any pole, or we have temporary posts we can put them on and leave them up, and it's a big improvement. We had a device that did a similar thing, but it was really outdated and the battery didn't last very long, and it was really a hassle, and it didn't upload wirelessly. So this uploads wirelessly, so that data is always there for us. And
Or they stole the power, right, through now.
yes, they have solar kits with them, yeah, and they're also rechargeable. So what we've done a lot is, instead of the solar kits are sort of kind of a hassle to put on, so we can put on if we need to. But what we found is that we bought extra batteries. So extra batteries were less expensive than the solar kits. So we focused when we purchased more on extra batteries. We have a solar kit that we can add to either one of our 2 signs that we put out. But what we found is that the batteries are easier. The batteries are about this big and about this thick, so it's about like a piece of paper. So we can send our people out to switch out a battery easier than. And the batteries last. They've been lasting. They'll go over a week. We've had really good luck with it. So. But it's been successful for us. We've been funneling all that data in and using that for patrol requests. And I think it's good for the community too, because people feel a lot of frustration. There's certain things in small communities that really affect the quality of life. Because people feel it and see it every day. Traffic is certainly at the top of that list. It's certainly in the top area there. So we try to pay a lot of attention to that, and that way we can go out and see, okay, is it a consistent problem? Is it a limited problem? Is it one time a day? Is it one of those 100 drivers I mentioned? Maybe we can go knock on a door and get ahead of it. We've tried those things, and we've seen some success with it. This first year has just been really, we haven't been able to focus on a lot of long-term projects because everybody wants it, and there's so many areas we feel like we want to get a baseline. Yeah. But when we start next year, we really want to kind of focus on these 4 or 5 project areas where we can get into a regular rotation and get them there. One thing that we've run into is that we go out and do a traffic count, but then the conditions change. Councilwoman Northrup and I have talked multiple times about we go to Delaware and do these studies, but we do it during the school year or during the summer. Those are 2 very, as she's pointed out, those are 2 very different situations of traffic. We need to evaluate both of those, and that's what we're trying to do with these now. So.
Sometimes it's little things, and just today, there was a business had a bobcat. They were trying to clean the street right on Lincoln Avenue. One of your officers pulled over, put their lights on, and stayed there to draw attention to that until they were done with the area by the street. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
just extra safety steps, being proactive. Trying to make sure everybody really saw what was going on, because there's a lot of distractions out there driving around today.
Absolutely, and that's what we push for, is just a culture of, our officers know we expect them not to just drive by. That's just not the business that we're in. Our community supports us, we're going to support them, and we don't do the term, I'm really tired today. We just don't do that. It's not allowed, and our officers don't want to be a part of it. It's not like we have to drive a hammer and from an administrative standpoint, force them to do that. Our officers want to do that. We've got a really good group of officers, and they're high functioning, and they're proud to work here, and we're proud to have them.
Thanks for coming. Anybody have any other comments? Thank you, Chief.
Good job, Chief.
Our next agenda item is consider approval to enter into a professional services contract with Ascend for $5,000 to perform construction management services for York's repurpose project.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. You may remember that a few meetings ago, we approved a contract with Ascend for helping us manage this reuse money for $10,000. So that contract was an overarching one to help us negotiate with the state to get them to accept the projects we wanted to use for that money and reporting, and so it's a broader set of tasks. Now, once we have determined that we are using this money for the generator and trail expansion, those are construction-related tasks, and so that's why you have this contract in front of you now. So it's $5,000 for their assistance to make sure we follow all the federal rules or compliant with all the labor rules for the projects that they helped us to get approved.
Well, a generator at the auditorium sure seems to make sense today, doesn't it?
Yeah, so the generator has been, got approved at council, and it is supposed to be arriving sometime in June. And so we decided where it should go, and that's moving forward.
So we would need a motion to enter into this contract.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further comments? Amanda?
Nor.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Lustier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Northrup. Yes.
Next is to consider approval of a proclamation declaring April and May 2025 as spring spruce up months for the city of York. We had a lot of conversations, and part of it came from the presentation that we saw with MPPD about, apathy in your community, and we've done these kind of we've done a cleanup time before, but really felt like, this is a great time for pride from a lot of different ways. So, whereas the vision of the city of York, Nebraska, is to be a thriving community where people want to live, work, and thrive. And whereas cleaning up and fixing up our property enhances our community's appearance, fostering a sense of pride among residents and a warm welcome to visitors, and showcases all that York has to offer, from our thriving local businesses to our beautiful parks. And whereas a collaborative effort among residences, businesses, and organizations is essential in maintaining and enhancing the cleanliness and appeal of our city. And whereas by working together to spruce up York, we strengthen and share our shared commitment to creating a vibrant and thriving community for all to enjoy. Now, therefore, I, Barry Redford, Mayor of the City of York, Nebraska, do hereby proclaim the months of April and May 2025 as spring spruce up months in the City of York. I encourage all residents, businesses, and organizations to participate in this citywide effort by beautifying your properties, volunteering in cleanup projects, and demonstrating their pride in York. Let us join together to make our community shine and ensure York remains a place we're all proud to call home and a welcoming destination for all that visit. In witness whereof I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of York to be affixed this, the 20th of March, 2025. So I think it's great, and so we would need to approve this, and that will lead us to our next item.
I approve the proclamation.
I'll say.
Motion and a second. Any comments? Amanda?
Nor.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Lustier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Northrup. Yes.
We had great success, I think, in the past with this, so I think, we're really looking at involving, all kinds of different ages and groups and people with that. So and along with that, we want to give something back from the city to make this easier to do, and we would like to consider free access to the solid waste agency from 9 to 12 on April 25th and 26th. James?
Yeah, so for those from the 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. on those 8 dates of April 25th and 26th, I will expect to have some extra staff out there to help with the traffic, with some traffic control and making sure that to be able to point residents not only from the city but the county on the appropriate areas to put this up that they would bring out to the landfill. A couple items on there, surcharge items such as tires, large appliances, mattresses, and special waste are going to be exempt from that free disposal. So those are just a few select items that are exempt from that. So.
And residential.
Yeah, residential, no large contractors with roadside dumps and stuff like that.
So I think in the spirit of the whole idea of helping people clean up or having people help other people clean up their properties, and looking for those, then I think this is definitely in the spirit of this. So we would like to have approval of having these times have that free access with those exemptions.
Move for approval.
Motion and a second. Anyone have any comments? Amanda?
Nora.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Bustier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Becker.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Norton. Yes.
Our next agenda item, thank you, by the way. Our next agenda item is consider approval of a bid from Sergeant Drilling for 11 potable water level probes and digital displays in the amount of $74,341.
Yeah, so we did put this out to bid. We did receive 2 bids back. Sergeant Drilling actually submitted the bid that met all of our requirements. The second bid that was received was just for water level probes, did not include any of the digital displays, and the water level probes were not exactly what we were looking for on that. So due to Sergeant putting the most applicable bid out there with the requirements we requested on RFP, we do plan on, if this gets approved, this expense will be paid out of our water department's pumping equipment maintenance budget, which currently has approximately $162,240 left in that.
And we have a good history of working with Sergeant.
Yep, the Sergeant has done a great job. They always do great work for us. The enhancements with these water level probes will be able to, they'll go into our SCADA system, they'll report right into our computer and tell us what our water levels are at within all of our well houses, or wells, sorry, ground water wells.
And this is something we don't have now.
Correct. Correct.
There's no more questions, I'll move for approval for the bid.
Second.
Motion and a second. Does anyone have any further comments? Hearing none, Amanda?
Nora.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Bustier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Becker.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Northrup. Yes.
Next is consider approval of bid from Midwest Netting Solutions at the landfill for litter netting in the amount of $248,405.33.
So we had, this is a budgeted item that we had on our capital projects for the Roswell landfill this year. We had budgeted $250,000 for that. We did receive 7 bids on this. There were a variety of ranges when it came to the bids, so I asked for the assistance of our landfill engineering team from HDR to help review the bids. I reviewed them as well. And we looked at not only price, but the different components that came with the system. We also looked at how they're secured, pole height, wind rating, kind of top of mind. And then we also looked at warranty on the materials and the different terms that were proposed on that. And then we also looked at the components for ease of small repairs that might need to be made. So that, it's not calling the contractor back out and, if something doesn't fall under warranty, then all of a sudden we get charged, is it something that's easy to repair? Can we possibly do it? So we looked at all those factors, and HDR agreed. We came to agreement that Midwest Netting Solutions met our need out there at the landfill. Again, this is before any construction would happen. Midwest, I spoke with them already. They would come on site to do a visit prior to, so that we can get boots on the ground, look exactly where the poles are going to be set, and then how that would look in terms of litter pickup out of the landfill, keeping everything in that one spot. They also didn't believe that there was going to be any problem with completing this project prior to October 1 of this year.
What is it, survived?
Yes. Yeah, so, well, the wind rating on this system is 115 miles per hour.
And let's say you had to move it, James.
Correct, and that's something that I'm gonna talk to them further when they're actually out here, because obviously as our phases move, it's basically what it looks like it's gonna be is, it's gonna be a treated wooden utility pole system with eye bolts, cables, and the netting. So there should be no problem with moving that as we go, and that was really the system I'm looking for, is ease of moving as we continue on with different phases. There might be some additions to it in the future depending on cell size and what we still need to protect in the current cell that we're in, but that's to be seen in the future.
Well, it's something we needed to get out there for a long time.
Correct, yes. It'll definitely help out with some of our daily tasks. You know, we have been really paying really close attention to the wind with the weather as of late, because we've seen an increase in wind speed. So been really trying to operate in a small space and closing early if we have to, or not accepting some days. So due to the wind.
Any other questions, James?
I move for approval.
Motion second. Any other comments? Amanda?
North.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Steer.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Becker.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Northman. Yes.
Our next agenda item is a public hearing on the preliminary and final plat for Central Park subdivision. Dan, turn it over to you.
Okay, so this subdivision is the two buildings to our south, High Tech Automotive and the abandoned parts store. And Mr. Bromstead is going to be selling the other parts store, but he wants to move the property line approximately 25 feet west. That's why we need the new plat. And if you look at it, there's some power poles that come through there, and his building is fed off of those, so we need to straighten everything out, so we need to move the property line over a little bit. And the planning commission has reviewed this, have made a recommendation to approve.
Questions, Dan? Thank you, Dan. This is a public hearing if anyone else would like to address this issue. Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing on the Central Park subdivision and look for approval of the preliminary and final plat.
I move for approval of the preliminary and final plat of Central Park subdivision.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other comments? Amanda?
North.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Steer.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Becker.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Northman. Yes.
We have a few appointments. I'd like to reappoint Mike Oken and Jeff Erickson to the tree board for a term ending February 1st, 2028.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Amanda?
North.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Steer.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Becker.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Northman. Yes.
And I would first like to thank Joan Strong for many, many years on the tree board and all the time she spent with that. And I'd like to appoint Chad Wellman to the tree board for a term ending February 1st, 2028.
Move for approval.
Second.
Is he like a tree guy? Does he have some stuff, some accreditation with him?
No, he's running the golf course. He got a lot of trees, so I figured he is a pretty good one.
I don't know if he's a certified arborist, but he's a good guy.
Certified arborist.
Takes care of trees.
Yeah,
Citizen advisory board.
right. But we like people that know about
Everyone knows
trees.
everything. Yeah.
Right. He's as close as I can come.
I move for approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion is second. Amanda?
North.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Steer.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Becker.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Northman. Yes.
And I would like to appoint Ellen Hanson to the Board of Adjustment for a term ending September 1st, 2028.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and second, Amanda.
Norm.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Bustier. Wilkinson.
Yes.
Lambert.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Northrup. Yes.
Next is another public hearing on the City of York 1 and 6 year street improvement program. James.
Yes. So, myself and Brandon Nozentowski, we are, we are licensed county highway street superintendents for the state of Nebraska. Trayton Rule is our street foreman. We all met on February 4th to look at our 1 year and 6 year street plan, what we're seeing with the conditions of the streets on that plan, and then we did make some additions to the 6 year, and really coming up with a plan of what we want to get done this year. Again, this is really a living, breathing document. It changes. I know there was a couple of years ago, we had a real hot summer. Nothing ever happened when it needs to, but I think a fall tournament was getting ready to happen. A portion of 12th Street blew up because we had a blowout in the street, and we had to do some repairs on that. So again, this could change as conditions of the street change. But so far on tab this year, the top one is one that we didn't unfortunately get to last year. That's on 8th Street from Grant to Nebraska. We do want to do a complete reconstruction on that street. It's in terrible need. It's to be the street right north of the senior center. And then I believe the red couch is just on the north side of that. And then the second one is a project that we're going on with the previously approved to move forward with the county, and that'd be on 25th Street. It's from like a couple hundred feet east of Nebraska Avenue to the city limit, which lines up right about where that approach is heading into the soccer complex. So we plan on doing a asphalt rehabilitation to that section, and then the county is going to continue from there onto Delaware. So I'm looking forward to this project. It'll be a great collaboration between us and the county. Third one on there, this one deals with the EPA project. It'd be from about 390, Platt Avenue, 393 feet between 4th to 6th Streets. So the EPA cost on this, but the plan is to fill where all of the heating elements are, fill those, and then completely go asphalt overlay that street there on Platt. Did put some ADA ramps on here. We're continuously needing to improve ADA access on the corners of our streets. So whenever we're working in an area doing panel replacement or any type of repair, maybe it might be to a stormwater catch basin, we're gonna work on those ADA ramps to make sure that those are correct. We do have a panel replacement on North Wisconsin Avenue that we plan to do this year, and then a panel replacement on Indiana Avenue. All these projects, well, not all of them, but minus the 25th Street and the Platt Avenue project, we plan on doing the rest of these as a city street department. We plan on doing all these ourselves. If it happens, like I said, if something happens with the street to where we need to do some other repairs, we might move that up and take something off of there so that we can get the immediate need taken care of. When we're looking at the 6 year plan, these are obviously things in the future. Some of these items on the 6 year were on our original engineered plans for the street reconstruction project. A couple of these sections here were ones we took off because the funds for the other streets that were completed for that reconstruction were needed on those sections, so we had to take some of these off, but still want them to be on our radar so that hopefully one day they're already engineered, so when we go out for a reconstruction, we'll get those moved up. I know that Trayton, he does want to try to do some work on some smaller section of these, something that the city street department can handle, so we might see a few changes in terms of linear footage on some of these.
I've asked in the past, well, what's the difference between the reconstruction and the rehabilitation?
So a full reconstruction means that we take the street and we actually have to redo the whole base. So the rock base underneath. Rehabilitation is we don't mess with the base. We just take, if it were an asphalt street, we just take the asphalt up and out, we into the base. But a reconstruction is we remove the base, we dig down so far, we pack it, and then we apply a new base.
So it's not the chip seal stuff or?
No. No. And I know that so far this year, we did find a few nice days here and there. We actually did some repairs up on 19, to some alligator that was happening with some of that, replace that with concrete.
Just with that EPA area,
Yeah.
in the street name, it says just 393 feet, but you have a length of 1,800 feet. This was just the difference in those.
So, what I took off of that, so on 4th Street, that's where 4th Street starts, a portion of it is already concrete. So I had to subtract it.
Gotcha. Okay.
So this was presented to the planning commission as well.
Yep.
And so they also reviewed it in terms of land use and recommended its approval.
Well, we have a lot of streets.
We do.
300 miles plus, so there's always going to be street.
There's
I
always
think
gonna be
you've got the right
something.
ones prioritized for right now, so.
Yeah, and another thing that, with these projects is, we're also gonna be looking to do more active joint sealing as well. To, cracks show up and get those joints sealed to prevent water intrusion in the future.
Any other questions, James?
I just have one little thing on that side, just as we're talking about streets.
Yeah.
There's been so many near misses on these one-ways lately, because there's just so many more people from out of town, I think, in coming through here and just moving here or whatever.
Yeah.
But is there any way that one-ways that we can paint arrows every so often, like this lane, and you can go straight, and you can turn this way? Because so many people want to just, they're in the wrong lane, and they'll just turn to the wrong side. But I thought if they both had, every so often, you have like arrows on this, actual painted on the streets, so you can turn, this is your turning lane, this is your turning lane, and this is your,
Yeah.
Is that even feasible as much as we've got it in one way or not?
Yeah, so probably, what I'll do is I'll reach out to our striping contractor that comes in about every year to restripe
Like every so
our main
often.
lines,
Yeah.
and see what they propose so that we still meet the signage regulations in terms of street signage. And see what we can do to maybe enhance that more, because I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I honk a lot, but it just doesn't work out very good.
Every now and then you have someone coming right at you. Thank you,
Thanks,
James.
James.
This is a public hearing, so if anyone else would like to speak to the 1 and 6 year street improvement program, they can do so now. Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing on the 1 and 6 year street improvement program, and we would need to consider approval of resolution 2025-6.
Move for approval of resolution 2025-6.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further comment? Amanda?
Dorr.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Pelletier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Dorr. Yes.
Our next public hearing is going back to our issue that we started the meeting with, and the City of York redevelopment plan amendment of CBA Area 10, the Hyatt Studios redevelopment project. So this is a public hearing if anyone would like to speak to this matter.
I just want to say Jonathan lost his signal. He's willing to hop back on if you guys have any more questions for him. I can text him and he'll get back on, but I told him, don't worry about it.
I don't think so. Mike's back with us. Do you have anything to add on this council agenda item?
I do not. I would be glad to answer any questions raised.
So as Mike had said before, we're approving what we've approved, and then we'll approve what we've approved and approved after bid. So that's the second step of what we need to do tonight. So if no one else would like to speak, we'll close the public hearing, and I would consider approval of 2025-8.
Make a motion for approval of resolution 2025-8.
Second?
Motion is second. Any further comments? Hearing none. Amanda?
Norm.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Bustier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Norwood. Yes.
Very good. Thank you, Mike. Next, we have consider approval of resolution 2025-10 to declare certain city property surplus and authorize disposition of that surplus property. I think this property is the old speaker system at the auditorium. Is that what Shreveport is? And the new one is coming next month, I think. The new, in time for graduation. There's Councilman North. So that's what we're trying to dispose of.
I don't get much work and didn't work very well.
No, that maybe somebody will find a use for it in their garage or something.
Thanks.
A motion is second. I'm not going to allow any other comments. Go ahead, Amanda.
Norm.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Bustier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Norwood. Yes.
Our next item is the third reading of the annexation of regular tracks 15 and 16. This would be ordinance number 2382.
The industrial property.
The industrial property into the city limits. This is the third time we've read this, and I don't know that we've had any comments of any sort, and I think this is, well, it's what we need to do, so I would look for a motion.
I'll move for approval. Second.
Motion and second. Any further comment? Amanda?
Norm.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Bustier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Norwood. Yes.
Yes. So now the city's industrial park is in the city. That's a good thing, so, very good. We have another public hearing to consider amending the industrial and agricultural height zoning regulations. Dan, I call you back up for this.
So for 30.1 and 30.2, we're doing the same thing. We're going to move the height restriction from 150 feet to 225 feet. The ordinance committee has looked at this, planning has looked at this, both recommended approval on it. We've got some interest for possible cell towers or ag elevator equipment in those areas to exceed that 150 feet. One thing to keep in mind that depending on where they're located, the FAA regulations take precedence over anything else. So there's a study, a flight pattern that says you can only go so high, but for most of the area, it would allow this change.
And so we have two different ordinances in two different districts.
Yes.
In the agriculture and industrial. Any questions of Dan while he's at the microphone? This is a public hearing. If anyone else at this time would like to speak to either one of these ordinances, they can do so at this time. It's just not a talkative crowd tonight. A lot of public hearings. Seeing no one, I'm going to close the public hearing and turn it over to the council. First, to deal with ordinance number 2386. We do have suspending the rules listed on both of these.
I move to suspend the rules for ordinance number 2386.
Second.
The motion and a second to suspend the rules on 2386. Amanda?
Norm.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Bustier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Norwood. Yes.
And now passage of the ordinance.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Amanda?
Norm.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Bustier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Norwood. Yes.
And then we would have ordinance number 2387, and would also need to suspend the rules if you so wish.
We just suspend the rules for ordinance 2387.
Second.
Motion and second, Amanda.
Nora.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Rozier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Norhuck. Yes.
And passage of the ordinance.
So,
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further comment? Amanda.
Nora.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Rozier.
yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Norhuck. Yes.
Our next agenda item is ordinance number 2388 to amend chapter 8 to exempt service dogs from the requirement to pay license fees. Anyone want to speak to this?
We need to because it's state law. We have,
That makes sense.
so I'll move to suspend the rules of ordinance 23.
Daniel, you want to say anything?
Only if we have any questions.
But it's a state law, so we're just cleaning that part. I got you. So we have a motion to suspend the rules and a second. Amanda.
Nora.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Rozier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Norhuck. Yes.
And then passage of ordinance 2388.
Move for approval. Second.
Motion and a second. Amanda.
Nora.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Rozier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Norhuck. Yes.
We'll adjourn as a city council, and I would look for a motion to reconvene as a community development agency.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Amanda.
Nora.
Yes.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Rozier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Norhuck. Yes.
So this is the last step that Mike took us through that we need to do after we recommended it and then it was approved. Mike, you can take us through that, but this group, the Community Development Agency recommended this to the council approved it, and now the Community Development Agency also needs to approve it.
So that's correct. This resolution says it adopts the plan amendment and authorizes two additional actions. One, to execute the proposed redevelopment contract and pursuant to the terms of the contract, issue a TIF note to assist the developers in building the building. So this is the formal 25-page document that says all of those things with a lot more words, but it does require the issuance of the TIF note does not add any burden to the taxpayers. They have to prove every penny of expense that is eligible. They submit those, they're endorsed on the TIF note, and then taxes are divided. If they don't follow through appropriately, the short version is the TIF note can be canceled. So you got a lot of teeth and several steps they have to go through to protect the city's fiscal position. So this is in standard form, and I would recommend the adoption of the resolution. Be glad to answer any questions.
I move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Amanda?
Nora.
Yes.
Shepherd. Yes. Rozier.
Yes.
Wilkinson.
Yes.
Piper.
Yes.
McGregor.
Yes.
Norhuck. Yes.
Very good. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you all.
That brings us to the end of our agenda. We are adjourned.